Hey guys, in this video, we cover going over a trade show floor map. And this is a recording from my group coaching call that I have every week. So watch through this entirely. It's got so many hidden gems in there and so much value. And I hope you guys enjoy this video.
We want to be able to approach a booth and know that they are accepting a couple Amazon sellers or they're working with a select few of Amazon sellers. The worst thing to do is when you go up to a booth and say, hey, we're interested in, we're selling on Amazon. They say, well, we sell it ourselves. Like that could have been information you found prior. I'm curious if we were to kind of dig some things up here. Marine, Emmy Sales, like who is Emmy Sales? Is it a giant boat thing? Like this stuff can be very tedious. We've started investing in 13 brands. What are those brands? Or these brands have any presence on Amazon? We're kind of covering upcoming trade shows. January is big for trade shows for sure. What I'm kind of looking for here is we have our keywords of January trade shows, but what I'm kind of looking for is like maybe 2026 trade shows, East Coast in sporting and outdoors. Specific keywords we can kind of nail here. So we have in March, WNY Sports and Travel. The thing is this worth the drive? It shows tickets, but I need more information from this stuff. Like, this doesn't tell me much about who's going to be actually showing up. Is there a possibility that they have some sort of exhibitors list somewhere else? Come check out exhibitors from hunting. Let me stumble across something else. New York Pure Maple. Like, for me, it's just not enough information. Like, when I go to a trade show, like, they just changed it. Newtopia, I think. Newtopia really has a lot of brands that I'm familiar with in regards to, let's see if I'm going to come across anything. A lot of these smaller type of grocery type of products where this would be somewhere I would rather go. And I'm trying to pick one out. Something like this does well. We've sold this brand before. So on a product like this, let's see if there are listings with third-party sellers. This is kind of what I mean by doing our due diligence before showing up to any sort of trade show like this. So like, for example, this is, all right, sold by them. So it's harder to have a conversation about them in regards to becoming, one of their sellers. Does it spark, and everything's kind of done. What we're kind of targeting are brands that are lacking in this department. So, but Newtopia is, I think Newtopia, where are they having it this year? It's in Denver. It's a lot to go all the way out to Denver to go there and, feel as if we didn't have a successful trip. That is, the biggest fear of traveling. So I really like to, and honestly, the majority of us in this room are, I think, East Coast. The majority of us are actually in New Jersey. I would like to kind of go towards East Coast trade shows, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut, maybe PA, maybe well, we'll do Florida a little bit, Muriel. But
Okay.
Maybe Virginia too, because they have a lot of trade show at the Dallas Expo centers.
so the toy fair I did want to go to. Now they had a interesting application where I know I was trying to attend, and they were looking for of invoices of certain suppliers you're buying from. Now, again, these trade shows are all happening January, February, March, prime time. And think about it. The new year is like when everyone's trying to get out there, meet new customers, stir up new business, get the quarter starting off right. We've always gone the distributor route. We just landed a big account because we positioned ourselves as a distributor that sells to B2B. And he says, we don't do any e-com, but because you do a little e-com and you're a distributor to B2B, we'll open the account. And like at the end of the day, once the account's open, I'm placing consistent orders. They probably don't even bat an eye. They're seeing that I'm placing 5K orders a week. They're probably happy. So this is what's super important. And this is where I want to kind of go with this call is 4 recent wholesale invoices billed to the registered company within the last 12 months. Products from toy manufacturers, no toy invoices are available. Brokerage agreements from manufacturers. This is if we wanted to get access to the toy show, to actually go to the toy show. Let's focus on a couple supplier accounts that might be easier to open and to get those credentials in the door. Now, in regards to the other documents, they're strict official documentation that confirms employment within the company. You might need to provide some sort of government doc that you're the owner of the company. This toy fair, they don't mess around. What are our best options to improve acceptance rate? The last thing we want to do is online only. They'll freaking, they're going to roll their eyes and hit no thank you. I think if I were to go in as some sort of retailer, I think the best angle is how do we make this type of like vague, like warehouse superstore? You guys have access to leverage our facility. You do, ideally have a warehouse. Not applicable. And maybe we can kind of position ourselves as like, B2B. Maybe, retailer, we have a warehouse, B2B, or other business. Or we could position ourselves as I know a boss, you can position yourself as like a convenience store, right?
Yeah, I can. Yes.
Yeah. So I think that would be huge for you. For others, maybe warehouse, maybe other B2B, because I want to try to see what that registration page is going to look next. All right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So 2 wholesale invoices showing the company's purchased finished product from toy manufacturer, from toy manufacturers. If no toy invoice is available, 2 invoices. So 2 invoices. They're tricky because an active store commercial lease with verifiable address. The thing is, if you're using a prep center, we don't have that verifiable address. Letter of intent to conduct business on a letterhead from a lawyer or bank. Like, who does the toy show think they are? That's a bit extreme. So we might have a better bet going through and positioning ourselves as a distributor. And honestly, I think just providing as many documents as possible would be okay. Even if we position ourselves as an e-commerce seller, it looks like a minimum of 6 wholesale invoices. I think with this, ultimately, I would like to try to go to this show, and I'll keep you guys posted with, hey, if I just send the invoices and this, and that, can I get in? Like the thing we need to understand and figure out is how strict are they? Are they really strict with all these documents they need? Because I can list a handful of toy distributors that I feel confident would get us in the door. Like ACD is the first one I think of. ACD distributors. Yeah, I recently Asmodee. So we used to have an account with Asmodee 4 years ago. And I recently signed back up and did like forget my password. And I got an email saying, hey, who are you? We're not taking any e-com, like, this, and that. So I don't think Asmodee is really an option, but it doesn't mean that there aren't other board games that are still working through wholesalers and distributors. Like even we can see this product right here, this Underdog game sold by 5 sellers, even though the brand is selling this as well. We've been in scenarios where we've just been on the listing along with the brand. Sometimes brands aren't anti, like, as long as everyone follows a map, they're okay, because how they kind of look at it is, hey, what if I ran out of stock, or what if I got delayed with inventory? We need someone to hold that place. So I think ACD, if I were to get and start to prep for going to this toy fair, I would get ACD going. I might get EE distribution going, but I just know that margin is not that great with EE distribution just from previous experience.
ACD restricts a lot of brand also. So just to give you
ACD.
yeah. ACD as well as EE both restrict quite a few brand. Those are there. I got screwed up with one of the brand that I bought in and can't sell it on there, so on Amazon.
Yeah. Yeah. They're definitely, having restrictions. I'm curious if we can find the Toy Fair. Like, who's the exhibitors list? Are there exhibitors that we can start contacting prior and start building a relationship and then get to meet them at the show? Are they going to these trade shows? Are they building relationships where the sales reps are granting them access to this inventory? Let's kind of go through this motion. Now, interesting, he can sell Funko. I think it's definitely, if we could even potentially throw in all of this information into ChatGPT to see if it can organize it based on Amazon popularity, because this is a lot. This is a lot to manually go through. Okay, this is the stuff I like getting into.
Hey, how's it going? I hope you're enjoying this video breaking down the trade show floor map. Once I started doing this, I started landing brands that I never knew existed. Now, if you want to work with me one-on-one where we walk through the entire process and help you land brands directly, I have a link down below to book a call with someone on my team. I work extremely close with all of my students, and if this is something you want to level up in 2026, click down below and I'll see you on a call.
What are some of these larger booths? Diamond Comic Distributors, someone that I haven't heard of. This could very well be a company some of you guys reach out to, establish some sort of relationship, and then I truly believe if you have conversations with some of your reps and saying, hey, we'd love to go to the toy show. I don't know if you have any resources and are able to get in there, or if there's any letters that maybe you can send along with your application. That's why I think it's super important to, especially now, guys, everyone here should be thinking about January, February, March, trade shows that are going to be going on. How do I start building the relationship now so I can capitalize on the new year? I love the new year. I'm the biggest guy that says new year, new me. I love all that stuff. And I really try to stick with it. But, new year, and it's going to be a whole refresh. So how do we start doing the, like, building out the groundwork to have a successful start to the year? How do we line up Alliance Entertainment, another distributor we've talked about before? How do we start lining up these accounts or getting these accounts opened for us to place a couple orders with some of these suppliers and say, hey, by any chance, you going to the toy fair this year? We would love to be able to come and meet you guys. Immediately, that is going to just push you over to the edge of one. All right, we know that, they're basically getting a sense, oh, wow, you go to trade shows. That's awesome. Yeah, we're going to be at the toy show. Maybe we can see if they can get you some sort of letter. Like Funko, I don't think it's worth, Funko is like a whole big animal, but how do we get in the door with someone like Diamond, with someone like Alliance Entertainment, Pyramid America, posters, and they have all these knickknacks and stuff. This stuff does well. There is a market for everything. We'd have to see if they really, are they just making stuff? Do they have actual brands that we're interested in? What I'm getting to is we're doing our analysis before we're showing up to any of these events. That is what I really want to stress on this call. If we're going to start going through this Super 7, Fig Pen, all these little pins and stuff, you'd be surprised. There's a whole market for this. The whole Comic-Con thing. There's this whole giant market with all of this stuff. Marvel, Disney, Hello Kitty and Friends. This is a great way to scoop up some leads that we can now build out some relationships with and then start to bring up. And actually, I'm seeing that it's kind of categorized. So I would kind of dive right into games and puzzles. Bananagram's going to be there. I see that Game Crushes on Amazon. We can see WS Game Company. That's someone I haven't heard of. WS Game Company. Yeah, I'd fill these out. I would fill these out. I truly think when we're looking for new distributors to work with, the first thing we should be doing is going to a trade show exhibitors list and going to the floor plan and just finding the large booths within a certain division. We can see we have baby and toddler, educational, outdoor, like everything's collectible, everything's organized. If we have an account with ACD and we start to try to get more orders in with them, I would 100% reach out to the rep and say, hey, I see you guys are going to the toy fair in New York in March. We would love to be able to attend, because this is what happens at these type of shows. When I go to trade shows, it is about just talking with the vendors you already have relationships with and seeing what other lines we can work with. Like, I'm going to go to a trade show, and one of the first things I'm going to do is, talk to a couple brands of products that we've sold and say, we're buying from X distributor. What do we have to do to get some sort of, certain percentage off? I know there's other guys getting some sort of pricing. Do we need a retail store? How are we able to compete with some of these other guys? It's a time for us to have a face-to-face conversation about having a true interest in buying that inventory. And that's where you bring questions of, hey, I purchased this product from ACD. Let's say I purchased the Animal Chemist, and it sold well, just the pricing wasn't there. Do you guys have any room on this product? If I were to take maybe 96 pieces, we would love to be able to ramp things up with ACD. We just need to be a little bit better on pricing. That's where this is where the conversations happen at the trade floors. They happen at the trade floors. Um, this should be the focus. And I really think the goal for you guys this year should be to try to get to trade shows. I don't want anyone to go on a plane and fly somewhere to go to a trade show. Utilize where you are and utilize those places. Unless you're Mary Ellen, you just fly free anywhere. So, but I don't want people going out, putting money in to go to trade shows when there are trade shows available. Now, ACD the toy fair is a hard account to get into, but if we start talking with ACD, if we start opening an account with WS Game Company, Super Smash Deals is selling this product, Super Smash Deals Inc. You think this guy's showing up to the toy show? 100%. How do you think he built out that relationship? He's only has 300 ratings. He's not a massive, massive seller. I think there's a lot of value in being able to analyze these exhibitor lists. And if I had the chance to have a conversation with someone at Bananagram, I think it would be a huge either win or a learning experience, and just having open conversations.
Alex,
Yeah.
if you look, what you're looking at right now, the floor map, it's only level one.
Oh
There
my
are
gosh.
there are other levels. If you look,
Oh.
I don't know. Oh, yeah.
I didn't even realize that. Wow. Oh my gosh.
Now you know why it's the biggest show. Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
This is
Jacob Javitson is huge also.
it is huge. And I think that's why they require all of these documents and stuff like that, because like, you got people, Lego, Crayola, Hasbro, like you got some of the biggest players in the space that are, going to be at this show. So if we could even like, I would be willing to like get a few orders in with ACD, start sparking a conversation with my rep for like the chance of just maybe putting in a good word or some document that would get me in the show. I encourage everyone to just find as many shows that we can tackle and just start to, fill up our calendars. Start to fill up, see what is in our area. Even if we don't go, can we find the floor list? Can we start tackling some of them? Can we call them at April 6th and say, hey, we didn't have time to swing by the booth, but we would love to open up an account with you guys. We were busy talking with so and so. Just start, acting like you were there. The best way, if you have two screens and you just, all right, type in the thing, what are they about? Are they a distributor? Is this a brand I'm going to be working with? Can I reach out to them? Maybe I'm able to reach out to them and ask them, hey, by any chance, are you guys going to the National Hardware Show this year? Some of these distributors that are showing up to these trade shows are harder to find on Google. It's harder to find. When we start to go through the analysis of the floor plans and get to the nitty gritty stuff, the stuff that is tedious of going through the motion. Man, Alex, you want me to go through this motion? What it's going to allow us to do is find products that we can consistently buy month in and month out that have predictability. The reason why we're not seeing predictability in the products that we're buying is because we're chasing distributors and products that everyone has access to. The Kahis of the world. Everyone's jumping for Kahi. And then there is, certain people that have certain discounts that others simply can't compete with. But there are other people that are not going through floor plans that we could have as a group competitive advantage over, because there are suppliers on here that are industry leaders. Yes, Barbara.
I have a question about, like, when you approach these, brands, should, given like Amazon's changing policies, should we be specifically asking them that we're interested in brand registry as opposed to just buying brand direct? Is there a difference? I don't know if I have that correct.
Yeah, like if the brand knows about brand registry and you came up to them saying, we would love to help things on the brand registry side, that's kind of like going up to someone and saying like, hey, what's the social security number?
Okay.
Brand registry is really, you have a lot of power. I'm brand registered with one of the brands we work with. I could shut down the listing tonight if I wanted to.
I see.
That's like, I think the approach is going up to a company and saying, hey, we're a distributor here in New Jersey, and we also deal with some of the Amazon and Walmart side. I saw that you guys have a couple authorized sellers on Amazon. And some of those photos are a little bit outdated. Have you thought about kind of cleaning things up on Amazon? I see that on your website you have a map price, but on Amazon pricing is a little lower. For us, we would love to be able to maybe open up an account and start working with you guys, and maybe eventually have a conversation about kind of Amazon and cleaning things up down the line.
Right.
Like,
Okay.
like that, I think is a great way to approach that. And honestly, I think even if I can kind of clip that and put it in the resources, I think what I just said is a great way to go in and come in with a kind of presence of knowledge of, all right, I kind of know what I'm doing and I want to buy from you guys. I've been buying this brand, and there has fluctuated between 3 to 8 sellers, and we're happy. It ebbs and flows. Sometimes we make $3 a unit on a $40 sale, which is not that great. But then sometimes we're making $12 a sale, depending on the month, depending on the competitors. And I've been trying to nail a meeting, and he gave me this other guy 6 months ago. Guy wanted nothing to do with me. I just found out that guy left the company, and I told my sales rep, put me in contact with the guy. I just did a reel on it because after a year and a half, I finally spoke with someone, said, you know what? We've never really thought about anything with Amazon. We're so focused on like, our convenience stores and our other distribution. Like I'm open to having a Zoom call and kind of going over it. Like that's all it takes. It takes one person to actually consider having. I just emailed him today. I was like, would love to have a quick 15-20 minute Zoom just to go over kind of the analysis that we've been able to do. And we have all these demo slideshows that I have in the resources. So like, even some of these brands that you might open where there are multiple sellers, as long as you've opened that account and you're getting some sort of orders in, you never know what that might lead to. I would love for you guys to be not only just buyers and sellers, but also someone that can approach a company and provide some sort of value add. That's where the Amazon world is heading. What is the value add? We get that you can buy and sell our products, but what value do you bring to our company? And I think having more tools in the toolbox is just going to help us have better conversations. Even if we continue to buy through distribution, when I'm going to a trade show, we talk with brands and we explain we buy from so-and-so distributor, but we're talking to brands in regards to the ability of like, have you guys thought about holding a map or cleaning things up? Because it's an absolute disaster. Are you fearful of maybe counterfeit showing up on Amazon? Like, these are all of the things that I'm able to talk with these brands, and sometimes my sales rep be like, yo, all right, I know you want to buy that product. Let's go over to the booth. And then my sales rep's like, hey, what's going on, man? They've known each other for 5-6 years. They say, this is my guy, Alex. He's been buying a lot from us. He wants to buy even more from you guys. We'll push it through, our company. But we would love to see if there's any way we can get, certain pricing of where he needs to be at. That's what happens on the trade show floors. And we are coming into trade show season, guys. January, February, March, trade show season. It would be very smart and very advisable for us to take some time and to outline where we want to go. And I'm not saying I don't want anyone flying anywhere. I just want people to be able to drive maybe an hour, 2 hours to show up to some events, to have conversations, or to line up certain suppliers, or you can start sparking conversations with ACD to get the chance to go to like a toy show or something like that. That's kind of where my head's at.